All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Gall's Deep podcast. We are back yet again for another video. Today, we got just a few different topics to kind of talk about. I guess we're going to kind of react and watch a little bit of the most recent Baron Coleman video. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. And we believe we have a post on X that has garnered some attention.
Yes.
And she will definitely give her 2 cents worth. And so that's about all we have is 2 cents. So yeah, let's just get started. I guess we'll pull up Baron Coleman. We're going to start with him.
Yeah.
And we'll watch a little bit of this clip. Is that
Well,
right?
I'll start off.
Oh, okay. She's going to start off with something, and then we'll move into it.
So what I wanted to kind of preface this, because we're picking up with Baron's podcast from today. This is Sunday, February 15th. And so Baron Coleman's Sunday evening podcast, I caught it live, and man, he's got so much information in this episode tonight. I just couldn't wait to kind of dive into this a little bit. And one of the things that he is really highlighting is that in cases when you're doing an investigation, sometimes there is one piece of evidence that as soon as that piece of evidence is revealed, it can turn the tide of the case and basically completely unlock an investigation. And Baron Coleman is an attorney, and so he has a really good nose for investigating and rooting out evidence. And I think that his skills are impeccable, and he has a great researching team and support team. And so his evidence is really, really strong and gives a lot of great information. And so tonight he laid out a timeline for the arrivals and departures of Erika Kirk and TPUSA staff on September 10th. And, I know that Candace Owens has dug into this a little bit. Some other independent journalists and investigators have dug into this a lot. And but Baron is, basically presenting his timeline summary for what was going on with all these planes going in and out of Salt Lake City, Provo, Utah, Santa Barbara, Scottsdale, and South Camarillo, California, transporting TPUSA staff back and forth on that day. And so in this timeline, he proposes a theory that Erika was in Provo at 10:06 a.m. So this is well before the time that we all believed that she arrived. So this is kind of a potentially a piece of evidence or a theory that could really crack open what was going on and really provide some new, fresh information as to what level of involvement did Erika Kirk or any other TPUSA staff have on the day of Charlie's death, and what their level of involvement was. What did they know? What were they doing? Because we've heard so many different stories, mismatched information, inconsistent stories across the board. And so he's really starting to put the pieces together here. So based on the details provided by Erika and Andrew Colvett, Erika arrived after Charlie's assassination and was on the tarmac when Andrew Colvett's plane arrived. And Andrew Colvett, that's when he classically, supposedly, allegedly, fell into her arms sobbing. That's what he told Candace Owens before they both departed the airport and made their way to the hospital. In Baron's theory, he makes a connection between Erika's arrival and the activation of a transponder on an Egyptian jet that was parked at the airport. Now, there's a lot of controversy about these Egyptian jets. Candace Owens was the first one to really openly describe the whereabouts of so many Egyptian jets that were kind of trailing Erika Kirk. Initially, she thought they were following Charlie, but then she correlated a lot of the activity of these Egyptian jets to where Erika was. And so this theory of Candace's has gotten her a lot of criticism, a lot of flack. She's definitely weathered it well. She's quite an expert at that. But this, I think, lends a little bit more credence to that theory, and Baron's providing a little bit more detail and evidence here. So he also details how various private and charter flights were made between Provo, Scottsdale, Santa Barbara, and Camarillo, California. So, um, based on his timeline, which we're about to take a look at here in a second, if Barron's theory proves to be true and Erika Kirk was in Provo before Charlie's assassination, then we must assume that Erika Kirk is not being truthful about her foreknowledge and possible involvement in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And so
Ooh,
that's why
that's
this
a hot take.
timeline is so important.
Interesting. Interesting.
And if there is, um, if this evidence that he's presenting is factual and this is consistent with actual events on that day, then this is some really groundbreaking evidence. So I don't know what's going to happen with this, but when I was watching Barron's podcast tonight, I was like, whoa, 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 wait a second. We got to take a look at this and talk about it. So I definitely want to take a look now and let's watch a little bit of his summary of this timeline.
All right. Here we go.
Summary. This will clarify everything for you. And then we'll go back to the individual links. This is very important you guys grasp this. Very, very, very important you guys grasp this. So this green plane, see this green plane? This is Delta Zulu. This is the Gulfstream 5 that Erika took to meet Candace in Nashville. This is the flight Charlie took from Scottsdale to Salt Lake City that morning to go do his interview that he had before the Utah Valley University event. If you don't remember that, we'll cover that in a minute. This next flight we've been given no explanation for this next flight, this Tango Whiskey, N560 Tango Whiskey. We've been given no explanation for this flight. We're told almost by silence that it doesn't have anything to do with TPUSA. I don't believe that's true anymore. I now believe Erika Kirk flew from Scottsdale, Arizona to Provo, Utah on that flight, which puts her on the ground at 10:06 a.m. Remarkably, as soon as she lands, the transponder from the Egyptian plane comes on at 10:05 a.m. So her,
The wonder of it all is
Great.
an 8-in-1 non-toxic air fryer toaster oven. Now with two.
her plane lands, the Egyptian plane, this SUBND, this transponder comes on. The plane isn't going anywhere. It's just sitting on the tarmac. I've got a picture of it sitting on the tarmac on that day. I'll show you in just a moment. Then the plane that dropped what I believe is Erika Kirk off right here at 10:06 a.m., it leaves Provo, headed to Santa Barbara. I believe that's a repositioning flight to go pick up Andrew Coleman. After it gets to Santa Barbara at 12 p.m. Utah time, the Big Bang is at 12:23 p.m. Notice there are no flights in the air at the moment of the Big Bang. Every flight we're looking at happened before the Big Bang or after the Big Bang. There's a 25-minute gap where all planes are on the ground. So we've got Provo to Santa Barbara. This is a repositioning flight. Andrew's on the ground in Santa Barbara with the Big Bang happened. In my new theory here, in my opinion, Erika's on the ground in Provo, Utah. And then the flight leaves from Santa Barbara to Scottsdale. That is Andrew leaving Santa Barbara and headed to Scottsdale, Arizona.
All right, so that is a little bit of Barron describing this, his theory of where TPUSA staff, specifically Andrew Colvett and Erika Kirk, were and what planes they were on and when on September 10th. So this is different than the narrative that we've been given from Erika and other TPUSA staff with regard to who was on what flight, the timeline, where everybody was, where they were moving around on that day. So if this proves to be true, then that does a lot of things. One, it puts Erika in Provo before Charlie was killed. So which makes you have to think, like, what did she know? Did she know something was going to happen? What was her purpose of being there that early? Charlie specifically asked her before that event for her to stay home because he said that home needed her. So that's in her own words that she said that. So So Erika, she was in Provo that morning. Then one, she disregarded Charlie's wishes, first of all. Second of all, why? What would have been the purpose? Because she wasn't at the event. She didn't
Yeah,
go to
she didn't go.
Provo
Yeah,
and then
right.
attend the event. So she
Exactly.
wasn't there.
Interesting.
So what would her purpose be for being there? And was she on that flight that landed in Provo at 10:06 a.m.? So only time will tell. I think that, Baron Coleman and Candace Owens are working on getting to the bottom of this. So I'm eager to see what other evidence they turn up next. So this kind of leads into the other thing that just really blew my mind this morning. I was peacefully getting ready to eat some breakfast, listening to Coach Colin this morning, and he highlighted an X post by Elizabeth Lane that I believe she posted on the 13th on X. And this post, Elizabeth is talking about something that I think is really important, and it's something that I've really struggled with because since Erika Kirk really first exploded onto the scene in those first few days after Charlie Kirk's assassination, when she, gave her speech in his studio wearing the white suit, and so. I guess classically now, it's a meme in and of itself, blotting her tears, giving that speech. And that was the first time that I saw her and just really felt like there was a major disconnect between Erika Kirk and the image she was trying to portray and what she was actually conveying. So there was a disconnect there. And so Elizabeth Lane, I think, put this so perfectly. And so she says a couple of things. So yeah, let's go ahead and pull up her X post.
Got her X up here, guys.
So definitely take a look at it yourself. I'm going to do a little bit of summarizing because she says something right off the bat that I also feel I also agree with, where she says she's reached the point where she finds Erika Kirk deeply disturbing, not because of rumors or gossip, but because of consistent observable patterns in behavior. Elizabeth Lane goes into her background, where she came from the world of acting and modeling. She's now an independent journalist, and she has spent a lot of time around people who are essentially fake, who are using their skills and techniques in acting and modeling and their position in the social world to basically get what they want from other people. She believes that Erika Kirk may be a psychopath. That's a pretty strong assertion, but I think that Elizabeth Lane is onto something, and this may be the reason why so many people have such a strong negative reaction to Erika Kirk's demeanor, her behavior, her patterns of speech, her facial expressions, the way that she dresses. There's a disconnect there. And so, what she says that what stands out immediately is the reaction that Erika Kirk provokes in people, which is very common in psychopaths. Where people, feel physical discomfort because the presentation feels artificial to the point of being unbearable. So further down in her post, she talks about, how Erika has certain traits that are where she has a rehearsed emotional display and a shallow affect. So this is one of those things that we picked up on with the fake tear blotting. She doesn't have a tear running down her face. Her face isn't red. It's not puffy. Her makeup's not being smeared, but she's blotting her face. She's sighing deep breaths, looking upward as though she's gazing toward the Lord for guidance and reassurance, pausing for applause when she's giving a speech. All of these things they just come off as really, really weird. And that's not a very eloquent way for me to put it, but that's just the way I feel when I observe Erika Kirk in a situation. She just seems fake. To just put it into a very blunt way, she seems fake. And so Elizabeth Lane goes on to just say that Erika is attractive enough, and she's had every tool in her position to sell this her emotions organically, or her position organically, except for emotion. And, she would have been the last person on earth to be a suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination, and would not have been the source of so much investigation, so much controversy if she didn't have such a fake persona. And so Elizabeth Lane goes on to say that plenty of attractive, ambitious women move through media spaces without triggering that response, even though we know that they are basically gold diggers or social climbers. But this is about something else. And this has to do primarily with the extreme disconnect between the presentation that Erika Kirk puts out and her perceived authenticity. So she's trying to put out this certain perception of herself and trying to portray an image, but there's a disconnect between the image and what we actually observe. So she goes on to say that Erika is not the archetype of a model or actress seeking money and fame and then settling into a quiet life. She says that describes Erika as the wolf type. She wants to be the alpha female. Erika wants to be in charge. And you can see this in Erika's career trajectory. She has been trying to get into media, trying to get into Hollywood. She played in a movie that was never released. She has been in Pentagon videos. She was a beauty pageant queen. Not to disparage anybody who participates in pageants. You ladies have skills that I do not possess and attributes that I do not possess. I don't know what it's like to have to go through what you have to go through to win a pageant, but what I do know from friends who have participated in pageants.
Your mic keeps messing up. Will that not tighten?
It just keeps, no, it won't tighten. I just have to keep adjusting it. Is that, ultimately the goal is to win the pageant. And the way that you win the pageant is by being exactly what the judges are looking for. So Erika Kirk is extremely skilled at being a chameleon and shaping herself into what whomever she is trying to please is looking for. So whether that is being cast in a reality TV show as an extra, whether it's getting a job working in the fashion industry, whether it's working for nonprofits or, trying to get grants and government funding for, nonprofits or organizations that she's running, whatever it is, she is very skilled at convincing people that she is what they are looking for. And so, Elizabeth Lane goes on to describe how Charlie Kirk wasn't Erika's typical guy she would go after. And, this is quite apparent from a lot of her Instagram posts and X posts and kind of just the timeline of Erika Kirk's life, where the type of guys that Erika always dated were muscular, good-looking guys. They were athletes. They high and tight haircuts, looked like they could do a lot of push-ups. That's not Charlie. Charlie Kirk, was, I know he liked to play basketball. That was one of his hobbies, but he wasn't a jacked up gym bro. But she wasn't just looking for physique and the guys that she was after. Elizabeth Lane goes on to describe that what Erika was looking for is the same thing Hillary Clinton was looking for when she met Bill. She was looking for a man who could catapult her into a position of power. Erika Kirk, according to Elizabeth Lane's summary here, her post, which I think she does an excellent job. I think you should read it. She explains it very eloquently and in a way that is clear and I think harkens to what so many of us have been experiencing when we are observing Erika Kirk out in public and something in our gut is just, it's not settling well with us. And so, but what she says is that what Erika saw in Charlie is what Hillary Clinton saw in Bill Clinton, that this was a springboard for her to be catapulted into either politics, the national spotlight, some kind of position of power, influence, or prestige. And so also she says
that's why you looked for me, right?
It's exactly what I was looking for when I found you.
I fooled you.
And so,
who gets the last laugh?
So Elizabeth describes how what Erika saw in Charlie was a brand. She saw that Charlie could one day become the president of the United States if he wanted to. I certainly believe that that is the case. I think that he was strong enough in his convictions, influential enough, had the networks in place, certainly charismatic, and could convey his ideas so extremely well that he was able to convince people who disagreed with him to change their minds. And so he would have been a very formidable opponent for anybody running against him. And I think that he would have been very successful in getting elected to whatever public office he sought,
Agreed.
if that was the case, if that was something that he so wanted to do. Unfortunately, we will never know because his life was cut short. But one of the things that additionally that Elizabeth Lane describes is how Erika's public identity reshapes itself after the relationship begins. When she started her relationship with Charlie, so when she met him, she was, according to stories, interviewing for a job to work for TPUSA. And then Charlie, famously said that he didn't want to hire her. He wanted to date her. Their relationship began. And she went from this boss babe style chick looking for money, fame, influence, running companies, doing all these videos, pageant girl, living in China with a boyfriend, moving to Puerto Rico, dating these athletes, all of this stuff. I mean, she was basically in training to be, I think Baron Coleman put it as a WAG, wife and girlfriend of a professional athlete. But then her demeanor changes from this girl who's taking pictures of herself, half naked and putting them on social media, to wearing high-necked, ruffly pink dresses and talking about how a woman's place is at home with her family and she should submit to her husband. And so she really takes on this whole new persona. And that is so consistent with Erika Kirk's skill set, being a pageant queen and molding herself to whatever the judge is looking for. And so the way Elizabeth Lane goes on is that Erika Kirk becomes the wife of this rising political figure. It's obvious that Charlie listens to her. Most husbands who love their wives and value their opinion will listen to their wives and take their opinions and ideas into consideration. You use them to shape their own opinions and maybe even change their own behavior. And everything was going well until Charlie started making decisions based on his conscience rather than money. And so what Elizabeth Lane then goes on to say is that she's assuming that someone like Erika, who married into this because she had a vision for this brand, this Charlie Kirk brand, Erika Kirk brand, that then if Charlie starts changing his mind about where he wants his brand to go and what he wants it affiliated with, then this could threaten her plans for the future, for her to be able to have her own level of fame, influence, and power. And so, she moves on to say that, Erika Kirk basically didn't like being in a supporting role, that it wasn't really consistent with her persona and her natural inclinations because she wasn't in the position of power. And so then Charlie dies, and immediately afterward, Erika Kirk is put into that position of power. And so, we've kind of seen Erika Kirk's evolution since the untimely death of Charlie Kirk and his assassination. And, Elizabeth Lane is not accusing Erika Kirk of a crime or any involvement. She's not laying any kind of evidence out like that. She is stating that, this is that basically validating why so many of us struggle to watch Erika Kirk and find her believable, to find her behavior to match the persona that she's trying to portray. And so I look at both of these pieces of media this weekend, Elizabeth Lane's post, and then listening to Baron Coleman outline this timeline for the planes going back and forth between different hubs for TPUSA staff. And it's just another one of those instances where the image that they're trying to portray doesn't line up there's a misalignment between what they're trying to get us to believe and what reality actually is. And so I think that that's how these two situations are connected. And I think that it further supports and reinforces what I've been feeling since Charlie died, that and when Erika first came onto the scene, is that there's something that's off.
Yeah.
Something just doesn't seem right. And there's lots of things that are off and lots of things that don't seem right. And, I don't have the amazing investigative mind of Baron Coleman or Candace Owens, and I certainly don't have their research staff at my fingertips by any means whatsoever. And I don't have the platform or, the beautiful writing skills to so succinctly put my feelings and my opinions about this into writing and post it on X. But what I do appreciate is that there are people out there who are highlighting this. And I think that it is really reinforcing what so many of us feel about this situation, that the numbers don't add up. Something's not right, that we need to keep digging to get to the bottom of this. And eventually that one piece of evidence is going to come to light that is going to make all the other pieces fall into place. And then we'll finally know the truth about what really happened to Charlie Kirk on September 10th. And so I want to inspire you guys to definitely go check out Baron Coleman's podcast. I mean, he really outlines some really interesting information regarding these flights. Definitely go and read Elizabeth Lane's post on X and follow her. I think she is doing some really
Check her out.
important independent
It's Elizabeth
journalism.
Lane at
I'm Elizabeth Lane.
Yep, I am Elizabeth Lane.
Yes.
On X. So
On
make sure you
X.
check her out, guys.
So thank you
As
so
well
much
as
for listening.
as well as Baron Coleman.
I hope that this inspires you guys to check out some of these other folks, listen to them. I would love to know what you think. What are the pieces that you are encountering that just don't seem to fit?
Yep.
And where are the numbers not adding up for you? What are those places where the image that you're seeing is not consistent with what you're perceiving and how you're interpreting it? Where are those mismatches happening?
Yeah, make sure to let us know in the comments.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to keep you guys posted. I'm going to be following these, we'll keep talking about it. And I think that the only way that we're ever going to get to the bottom of this is that we all just keep digging.
Keep digging and keep talking about it. Keep the open discussion going. So yeah, anything else? That it? I think that's it. I think she ran out of words. So that's it, guys. So again, make sure you like and subscribe and share the videos, and definitely leave your comments, and we'll check you out on the next one.